that limits his approach to making your health better. Well, or is the thyroid gland doing its thing? I mean, the fact is the body makes every chemical it needs. Aside from vitamins, a vitamin is merely a hormone that the body can't make. Most hormones the body makes. Those that it can't make, it desperately needs to get from the outside. So the two of them together, where'd that come from? Okay, the two of them together make the chemistry balanced. All right, moving on. All of those glands and cells have to make the right chemicals, the right quantity, the right quality, in the right place at the right time. The body consists of, listen to this number, some 70,000 billion different cells. 70 trillion different cells make up your body. All of those have to be coordinated as a team. If just one of them, one out of 70,000 billion is not doing its job, then you're not perfect. And you'll never be perfect until that one cell is brought into line to coordinate with the others. And the coordination is controlled by the nervous system. Let's leave those for a second and talk about something else. When a new human being is being formed, it starts off with a tiny female egg cell about the size of a dot made by a fine-pointed pencil. You can barely see it with the naked eye. Now, every month, a female body deposits an egg cell. Usually, it just goes on through the fallopian tubes and then is washed away in menstrual blood, and that's the end of it. And then a month later, the other ovary produces a cell, and that goes through. And then another month, and the first one again drops a cell. And then another month, and the second one. And this alternates from age about 11 up to all of your life, unless one of the cells gets fertilized. If one of those cells meets a male sperm cell and the two unite, now it changed everything. The union of the female egg cell and the male sperm cell is the start of a whole new human being. As that cell starts down the fallopian tubes, and the body, how does the body recognize that it's different? How does it? There's so much brilliance about the way this body is designed. It knows instantly that this is a fertilized egg rather than an unfertilized egg. So instead of washing away, this one implants in the side of the uterus. It hangs on, digs in, and grows. And it just grows, first of all, it doubles in size. Now you have two identical cells. And then a few days later, it's doubled again, you have 4, 8, 16, 30, just keeps multiplying, and every cell is exactly the same as its neighbor because they all came from one cell to start with. And then after about 8 weeks, some of the cells change. See, they're all identical in the beginning. After about 8 weeks, some of the cells begin to change and form an organ. Fascinates me as a chiropractor and as a spinologist to realize that the very first organ to develop in the human body is what? The nerve system. The brain and the spinal cord, you get those first. Long before the heart, long before the spleen, the nerve system takes shape. Why? Because the nerve system is the master controller. The nerve system is what allows all the other cells to take place. The nerve system runs your entire body. The most important system in life is the nerve system. It's in charge of growth, in charge of function, in charge of everything. The brain has to communicate with all the cells so they go through the changes. Then some of the cells become heart, some become lungs, some become liver, some become spleen, some become arms and legs. You take shape because your nerve system says that's the shape you should be. You're not the same shape as your neighbor. You're a different height, different weight, different hair color, different this, different that. And the difference is ordained by the nerve system. Now, there are certain restrictions on the nerve system. The restrictions of your genetic heritage. What did your mom and dad look like? You may take characteristics from that. What does your DNA look like? You may take characteristics from that. But essentially, what the nerve system does with them is what controls who you are and who you'll be for the rest of your life. That nerve system is so important. It's the only system in the entire body. Now, the nerve system consists of the brain and the spinal cord, and the branch nerves that go out. If that nerve system is perfect, then your life is perfect. Then your performance is perfect. And to make sure the nerve system is protected, it's surrounded by bone. The brain is surrounded by the cranial vault. That protects the brain from injury. And at a certain point, the brain extends down, and we call it the spinal cord. They change its name, it's the same organ. They call it the spinal cord. And that too is protected by bone. That roughly is what the spine looks like. Now this is a fiberglass model. But if we open up, inside is the spinal cord. Up here is the brain. Kind of an empty brain at the moment. These bones down here protect the spinal cord. Supposing one of these bones gets jarred out of place, well, then the spinal cord gets damaged. See, the openings are very small and they're exactly designed for you. If a bone gets twisted, something's got to give. And what gives is the nerve inside. We've broken the line of communication between the brain on top and the organs at the bottom. As a result, the organs don't work perfectly. They don't coordinate in harmony. Life is no longer harmonious. You can't think straight. You can't compute right. Your sense of balance can be disturbed. Your relationships with other people can be disturbed. Your sex life is interfered with. All it takes is one little twisting of the spinal cord to do damage which will last you the rest of your life. And all it takes to correct that is some spinologist or a chiropractor comes along and resets the bone where it belongs. The only trouble is we don't know where it belongs. That kind of information is not available to us. Not to a chiropractor, not to a spinologist, not to anybody. You can go to any kind of a doctor you want, they don't know where your bones belong. And some chiropractors, in fact, try to put the bones where they want them. And we spinologists laugh at that. Only the body itself knows where the bone belongs. So we've developed a technique for activating the body, so the body is free to put the bone back where it belongs. And that's all a spinologist does. A spinologist's life consists of identifying the obtrusion and putting in that tiny force. Let's go back to the charts again. Can we move to the next one?
Keep going.
Please. Okay, let me introduce you to your worst enemy. The spinal obtrusion or the vertebral subluxation. It's a tiny little distortion. And look at the damage it does to the spinal cord. The obtrusion is a tiny thing. It's not the bone moving a half an inch out of place. It's a tiny, tiny millimeter out of place. See, a spinal obtrusion occupies the space that should be occupied by the nerve system. There are no empty spaces in the body. Then every inch of space is taken up by something. If something moves out of place, it obtrudes upon the space of something else. It doesn't actually pinch the nerve, but it pushes against something else that pushes against, and eventually the nerve is affected. A spinal obtrusion is an alteration of nerve function. So the nerve is not functioning perfectly. And the body can adapt. It'll do the best it can under the circumstances, but the best it can is not the best it could be.